Happy Hump Day, everybody. Welcome to the Vault XL. This is a story that I brought to you last year after the brutal death of Mr. Byron's cousin, Ty Angela. And while the family was grieving the death of that young lady, they also are in limbo to where Mr. Byron is and where he can be located and found. Somebody out here knows where he is. I was looking at the video just now in the comment section. They had one comment. Someone said human trafficking. I doubt it. I don't think it's human trafficking. I believe it's foul play. I'm going to bring you the storyline pertaining to Mr. Byron, his family members, what they have to say, their fight to get answers to where he is. It's a very riveting story, once again, of an African-American person missing with no clues, no answers, nothing. Where is Byron? Somebody knows where he is, and they're not talking as usual. But we have learned that the truth will prevail, and there will be justice as well for Mr. Byron Edwards. I don't think it's human trafficking. I believe something has gone amiss with this young man. WBIR Channel 10 News is the source. Family of missing Knox County man celebrates his birthday on Tuesday. This was uploaded 18 hours ago. Thank you.
The family of Byron Edwards celebrated his birthday. That Knoxville man has been missing since March of 2022. He was last seen walking in the area of Riverside Drive in Knoxville. His daughter Blessing was born 1 month after he disappeared. Edwards' family says they still have zero leads as to where he might be. If you have a tip in this case, you are asked to call this number, 865-215-7165.
All right, everybody. Let's go back in time to get to the gist of this missing young man. 1 second, please. Hope you all are well. Thank you all so much for joining me, those in the chat. Yes, it is very warm here in the high 10. Oh my goodness. It is bad. This is not the time to be out playing around. So if you have asthma, breathing problems, heart disease, high blood pressure, health problems in general, I advise you to stay out of the heat. If you're going to do your errand, run and do it early if you can, or get someone to do it for you. These are very dire temperatures in the southern states, and I do not recommend anyone lollygagging around if they have health problems. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeGanji 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Let's go back in time. We're going to go back 9 months ago. WBIR is the source. The vanish. Byron Edwards missing for about 9 months. Right now, it's at 1 year. He celebrated a birthday yesterday. Let's hear what they have to say pertaining to Byron. Oh, well, Margaret, just rub it in. Why don't you?
There are 165 people missing from East Tennessee, according to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. Our series, The Vanished, shines a light on these cases. 10 News reporter Caitlin Keenahan brings us a case that remains a total mystery. Caitlin?
Beth, this is the street where 30-year-old Byron Edwards vanished from. He was last seen walking away from his girlfriend's home on Riverside Drive and was never seen again. Now his family can't help but wonder what happened to Byron.
The newborn stage is difficult for most parents. But for Kenesha Bond, it's been particularly so.
Blessing was born with a heart condition.
Truncus arteriosus caused several heart surgeries and weeks in the ICU.
She spent most of her time in the hospital.
But perhaps the hardest part, Kenesha is raising Blessing alone, and this baby is growing up without her dad.
Every child should know their father.
Byron Edwards was reported missing in March. He left Kenesha's home on Riverside Drive and walked in the direction of his granny's house.
And he was having some problems with his phone and was trying to communicate with some people about a job opportunity.
According to the Knoxville Police Department, Byron's location last pinged in the area of Riverside Drive, just a few feet away from the house he left from, leaving his entire family and the department wondering, where in the world is Byron?
He's left here before to come to my house, and always made it.
He didn't turn up for church the next day, then wasn't there for Kenesha's appointments, then didn't appear for the birth of his baby.
He would have been there. He would have been right there.
According to his family, Byron was ecstatic to be a father.
He said, Granny, we got to go shopping. I got to get some stuff for my little girl. He was real happy. That was his first child.
But now, Blessing doesn't even know her father's touch.
Can see my grandson in her when she smiles and when she turns her head. There's so much of Byron. And it always brings me memories back to him.
Though police say there are no new leads or developments, this family won't stop searching.
We got him on the National Missing Person database. We checked all the hospitals, prison facilities. Nothing. We even went in homeless camps.
And until they get answers, they will never stop wondering.
We as a family, we are looking for some closure.
If you have any information that could lead this family to closure, please contact East Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous. Also, head to WBIR.com/vanished to hear stories of other missing people in East Tennessee. Beth.
All right, Caitlin, thank you.
WBIR is the source. Someone commented below this video, weird. I guess it is weird. Byron lived with his grandmother allegedly, Miss Merrill. I know of the family, and I'm sure this is very trying. This is a trying time for them. 1 year later, son, grandson, relative missing, and also they buried one of their own last year in a brutal murder. Allegedly, that bullet wasn't intended for Miss Tyangela, but nonetheless, she is no longer here. So they've had double grief in the same year. And one's not coming back from death, from murder, and they don't know the cause and reasoning behind Byron not communicating with them. Allegedly, he went to church with Miss Merrill. So one would say, why would he miss church? Why would he miss the birth of his child? Allegedly, he was ecstatic about having a baby girl, Miss Blessing. You hear the baby's mother speaking in this commentary, and the other lady you hear speaking is the grandmother, who allegedly was who he stayed with, and where he was supposed to be heading on foot. It's a nice little walk from the east side of Knoxville, not too far from downtown, all the way to the Lonsdale community, if I believe she still stays in that area. That's a mighty long walk. Many of you will probably Google it. She also mentioned something about a job opportunity in this conversation, something I've never heard before. So was he talking to somebody about a job? Did he go meet somebody about a job? What happened to Byron? Oh, I believe somebody knows. Because there's always somebody that knows. You can believe that. Family searching for answers in Knoxville missing persons case. This was uploaded 2 months ago. WATE Channel 6 News is my third source. Thank you for joining me.
Still in need of answers and closure. Their loved one has been missing for more than a year.
We've been showing you the missing poster for Byron Edwards since March 2021. WATE 6 on your side's Molly O'Brien has continuing
22, I believe, 22.
With the family on what they're now asking the community to do.
It's been nearly 15 months since family and friends of Byron Edwards have seen or heard from him.
Right now, we just want some type of closure.
That's the grandmother.
Edwards was last seen on March 20th, 2022, when he walked away from the 2300 block of Riverside Drive. His phone last pinged earlier in the day at View Park Drive.
Byron always called me, and he would have never missed church. So that next day, we finally called the police, and we reported him missing.
We're told Edwards has numerous medical conditions and takes several medications. Police say they don't believe he took any money when he left.
Sometimes Byron has seizures, and maybe he's somewhere and don't know where he is, or don't remember something. He's without his medication.
Since he was reported missing, KPD says detectives have pursued every possible lead, including multiple searches with specialized canines, to no prevail.
It has gotten to the point to now where it is frustrating for us as a family. It's only because of the grace and the mercy and compassion of God that we are holding up as good as we are, because Byron's absence has really devastated our family.
KPD says there was never any evidence found during the searches.
It's getting harder and harder. I cry all the time. I pray to God all the time.
That's his cousin speaking.
We just need answers.
With no answers on the horizon, the unknown only making the family fear more.
It's the not knowing that gets you. So we just want the community to be aware that he is a missing person, and it is an open investigation with KPD.
KPD says they have exhausted every possible lead. Byron Edwards' case is now cold.
We're here today to plead with the community, with our police department, anybody that can give us any help, any information, any clues, because we do not have a clue.
In Knoxville, Molly O'Brien, WATE 6 on your side.
KPD is asking the public for information, hoping some kind of help with this effort will come forward.
Now, the family is clinging on to the idea that somebody who could know where Byron Edwards is, or if something happened to him, well, can supply some tips. And tips can be submitted to East Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers.
Hey, it's your skin.
Sorry about that. Age 30. If he was 30 at that time, which is a year ago, he would be 31 this year, yesterday. Where is Byron? Somebody knows something. Somebody has to know something. Of course. Somebody knows something. Where is he? Dateline has done a special on Byron, trying to pick this information up. Thank you all for joining me. Yes, God bless the family, because this is a terrible situation. As you heard, all measures have been exhausted by K9 and the police department. And what I'd like to know is, what did the K9s pick up at the address where the girlfriend lived? Does it stop there? On the street, on the porch, backyard? Where exactly does the K9 smell stop? That's important. And naturally, law enforcement does not tell you everything as to preserve an investigation. So I'd like to know exactly, where does it stop with the K9? Something is off. Way off. Trying to find that Dateline special, because I had it. Let me see, I may have saved it to my page. 1 second, everybody. Thank you all for joining me. Good to see everybody. Good to hear everybody down there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please tune into the Dinkins trial. Take the polls on my community page. And please check out my movie of the week, Ones Below. It is a very baffling story, a very good thriller, filmed in conjunction with the BBC and other production companies. It's probably one of the best movies I've seen thus far. It is on my community board. The ones below now playing on Tubi. Please check it out. The ending will blow your mind. Because I thought I was going to scream this last night when I finished the movie. It's a very, very good movie. Please check out my content from last night pertaining to the Hawkins County juvenile judge. Mr. Daniel Boyd is facing bribery and forgery charges. He's also the judge that handled Summer Wells' brother's custody case with the state and the Wells. He has by November 3rd to either plea or take his case to trial. And Judge Glenda Hatchett addresses the sheriff's guilty plea in the groping case. He has pled guilty. How much time will he get? And Mr. Dinkins is facing murder charges for his 11-year-old son's sister, Briasia. Did he kill that little girl? I say he did. Buying bleach in the AM, changing clothes, buying shoes from Walmart. Who does that when you're allegedly was visiting your girlfriend with your children? Why would you be at the Walmart or any other store buying flip-flops, clogs, whatever? Because you possibly got your shoes bloody after killing this child. Shot 2 times in the shoulder. And I believe, one time in the head or the neck? Not good. Obviously, somebody wanted the baby girl dead. Why? Very baffling information. For some reason, I can't find this. I'm going to go to my other source, because I keep everything stored in different places in case I need verification for the information. Thank you all so much for joining me. From my understanding, the ex-police chief of Gilgo Beach, New York, has been caught soliciting prostitutes again. We'll chop that up maybe later. Wow. Some habits die hard, I see. Interesting. Very sad. Say what, Terry? What are you talking about? Also coming out September 1st, The Equalizer 3, starring Denzel Washington. Dateline Missing in America, Byron Edwards. The 30-year-old was last seen walking towards his home in Knoxville, Tennessee. Byron's been missing since March 2022. Where is he? This was uploaded June 6th of this year. He was so excited that he was getting ready to have his first child. Shakita Turner told Dateline he went missing just a few months before she was born. On March 20th, 2022, Shakita's cousin, 30-year-old Byron Edwards, disappeared from Knoxville, Tennessee. And in this article, you will see a picture of Shakita Turner and Byron. Shakita told Dateline that Byron was born and raised in Knoxville. We have a very large family, and we are very family-oriented, Shakita said. Byron kind of just kept to his family. Shakita told Dateline that she and her cousin are extremely close. Even when we grew up, he would come to the house and check on me and stuff. She said he's always got the brightest smile on his face, that even when you're having the worst day, it'll brighten up your day. At the time of his disappearance, Byron was living with his grandmother, Marilyn Hamilton, in Northwest Knoxville. Marilyn told Dateline that she last spoke to her grandson March 19th, the day before he disappeared. I had called him that Saturday to remind him he was going to church with me, she said. He went to his girlfriend's house, and to let everybody know, her house is in East Knoxville off of Riverside Drive, which is right near downtown Knoxville. Miss Marilyn lives across town in Northwest Knoxville, which would have been a nice walk for him from Riverside to Northwest Knoxville. He went to his girlfriend's house, and he told me he would be back. So Miss Marilyn has asked him about going to church, and he went to the girlfriend's house and told the grandmother he would be back, but Byron never came back. Dayline spoke to Byron's girlfriend, Kanisha Bond. I've known him for over 5 years. We were together for 2, she said. He was a gentleman, very sweet. Kanisha told Dayline that Byron was excited when he found out that she was pregnant. He found out on his birthday, she said. He was really happy about it. According to Kanisha, Byron was at her house in East Knoxville on Sunday, March 20th. She said that around 4:30, Byron wanted to go back to his grandmother's house and was looking for someone to take him. Normally, he calls someone to come and get him, she said, adding that no one was able to pick him up. I was tired, so he kind of left out and started walking. He was about 10 miles away from his grandmother's house. Marilyn Hamilton told Dateline that her grandson doesn't drive and had called his brother earlier that day to get a ride. It was my other grandson's birthday, and so he told him that he's out having dinner. Soon as he's finished, he would be out there to get him, Marilyn recalled. But when he went over there to get him, the girlfriend said he had left out the back door walking. Byron hasn't been seen since. Marilyn told Dateline that she knew right off the bat that something was wrong. Byron always answers the phone for me. She said, if we don't talk in a day's time, we'll talk the next day. And also below, you will see a picture of Byron and Miss Marilyn. But Marilyn said she tried calling Byron multiple times in the days following his disappearance and got no answer. It's not Byron to not answer the phone or miss church, she said. Byron also missed an important doctor's appointment for his baby that week, Marilyn said. They found out that the baby had a rare heart condition and they had to go to Nashville for the baby's doctor's appointment, she said. Right before the baby's last appointment, that's when Byron went missing. Kanisha Bond assured Dateline that Byron would never have missed an appointment for their baby. He was always there, every appointment, she said. But Byron never made it to the appointment, and on Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022, his family reported him missing. The Knoxville Police Department is investigating Byron's disappearance. Detective Christopher Bell told Dateline in an email that he was last seen on March 20th, 2022, when he walked away from the area of Riverside Drive into the woods at around 6:30 p.m., according to the detective. His office has conducted multiple searches of the area with the assistance of specialized canine units, but Byron was not found, nor was any evidence of his possible whereabouts recovered. He added that they have also followed up on multiple leads of individuals with possible information regarding Edward's whereabouts, but those efforts did not provide any additional clarity on the situation. Detective Bell said that his office has reached a point where they need new information from somebody who could know where Byron is or if something happened to him. Byron's cousin, Shakita, told Dateline that family and friends tried searching for him as well. We tried searching and walking that area, she said, but we didn't find anything. Marilyn told Dateline that Byron's cell phone is one of the only things he had on him at the time of his disappearance. He left everything at home except for he had one card on him, she said, noting that that card hasn't been used since he vanished. That's very important. Marilyn said that her family is hoping the police will be able to obtain Byron's cell phone records and maybe find more answers about what happened to him. We've been waiting on that since last year, she said. They said they don't have any new leads. Is that the truth? Because we know in investigations they do not tell you everything. So I'd like to know, what did they find on his phone? Is anything in his phone of relevance to him walking away from Riverside? Did it ping at Riverside? They said View Park. I don't know if that's supposed to be on the east side. What? Where did his phone last ping, actually? Any doorbell cameras actually seeing him come out of the back door? And it says into the woods. So does her house face the woods, the back door? Because you got to remember, that's got to be a version. Unless you have CCTV footage or a phone ping that says otherwise. According to Detective Bell, his office was able to obtain Byron's cell phone records through a search warrant, but the results were inconclusive. The only information gained was that his phone was last pinged on View Park Drive, he wrote. Without the phone in possession, we can't get more reliable information. Marilyn told Dateline she doesn't know what could have happened to her grandson. I have so many speculations, she said, and you don't want to accuse anybody. Exactly. Byron's cousin, Shakita, told Dateline she isn't sure either. We just don't have no information, no clues or anything, she said. In the meantime, Byron's family has vowed to keep fighting for answers and hopefully bring Byron home to his baby daughter, Blessing. She came the 14th of April, 2022. Byron's girlfriend, Kanisha, told Dateline he has a daughter who is 1 now. He just needs to come back home. Byron is 6'1", 205 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. According to Marilyn, her grandson is on several medications for seizures and ADHD that she said could possibly affect his memory. Blessing needs to hear her father's voice and see his face, Marilyn told Dateline. We miss him and we love him very much. He's a vital part of our family. Anyone with information about Byron's whereabouts is asked to call the East Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers at 865-215-7165. NBCnews.com is the source. In this article that I just brought to you, you will see a picture of Byron and one of his relatives. Here he's standing with what is believed to be either dreadlocks or braids. In another picture, he's standing with shades of black hat, black shirt, gray pants. And then the picture above that, he's with Miss Marilyn, his grandmother. And then the picture above, he's with his cousin, Shakita, whom he was very close to, because I want to try to stay positive that he is still alive. But when you have so much time going by, you will start to assume the worst. So you hear Miss Marilyn speaking of speculations. So who does she speculate knows more about the disappearance of her grandson? Naturally, you don't want to start bringing forth allegations as not to get folks crunk and get some stuff stirred up. But in the end, these people may know more about what was going on with Byron than anybody else, and also the girlfriend. Because you got to remember, people don't tell you everything. But all bets are off at this point because he's currently missing. So let's start at the beginning. Did Byron willingly walk away from the girlfriend's house into the world? No longer wanted to be bothered with anybody. This does happen with people. And when people have any type of mental disorder or schizophrenia or anything can happen. So is he the type to run off? Because I've never heard that he was. Never heard he was the type to disappear, not answer his phone, which we're all grown. We have that entitlement. He went to church with Miss Marilyn. So what happened at that house? What's bothering me, and it may be nothing, is that in this article you will hear the girlfriend say he was trying to get a ride at 4:30. So from 4:30 until 6:30, it's the limbo of trying to get a ride and then finally saying, the hell with it, I'm just going to walk out the damn door and start walking. So obviously he was adamant about getting to Marilyn's house or whomever. So what the hell happened? Let's say he had a seizure. 9 times out of 10, he would have been found because he would have fallen on the side of the road. And even if somebody had hit him, hit and run, whatsoever, he still would have been lying there. Most people aren't going to pull over, move you if they hit you. They just keep on going. So that was a possibility in my mind. He was walking, got hit by a car. 9 times out of 10, he would have been found right there wherever he was hit by a vehicle. Number 2, did he walk away into the world on his own? Didn't want to be bothered? Was done with everybody? Was he that type of person? We didn't hear that he was, but just saying. Weighing all the possibilities. Then there's number 3. The girlfriend and he had a disagreement. He ran off. Something happened to him. Or something happened to him at that house. Did something happen to him at that house, 2300 block of Riverside Drive? That's what I'd like to know. Because somebody knows something. What I found interesting too a year ago when the family brought me this story, I didn't see anything about the girlfriend speaking originally, and that kind of bothered me. Now, his mother spoke near the end of video, but as you hear this latest commentary, you don't hear his biological mother speaking, Miss Treese, and you also don't hear anything from his biological father or their family. Why not? And I don't mean to offend anyone, and please don't get offended. This is what I do. I ask the questions that most people are going to want to know. And when you're talking about somebody missing, people are going to ask questions. People are going to assume things. Naturally, people will pass. He said, she said, gossip. I'm trying to refrain from any of that. I haven't heard anything notorious or nefarious, but I'm asking all the pertinent questions because that's what you're supposed to do when you're talking about true crime. You don't leave a stone unturned. Somebody knows where he is. And if he's the type to stay close to his family and deal with his family, why would all of a sudden he leaves this chick's house? He's now, poof, voila, magic, gone. Walked out to the woods. So then you have to ask yourself, well, where did the woods lead to? So for 2 hours, this man is trying to find a ride away from East Knoxville to the other side, northwest. He's tired of waiting. He takes out walking. Boom, boom, boom. He's nowhere to be seen. Inconclusive results with his phone pings from Knoxville Police Department. Elaborate. What do you mean inconclusive? The phone went dead or the phone was shut off? What was his last searches? What were his last searches? Through Google. Last phone calls, text messages, messenger, regular message. Any arguments, disagreements between he and anybody else? Did he say he was going somewhere else besides Miss Marilyn's house? Stay woke now. What happened to Byron? That's what I'd like to know. Because I believe somebody knows something. And just like with Chad Carr, also missing from East Tennessee area, Clinton area, somebody knows a whole lot about his disappearance. And I believe the people in that halfway house harmed Chad Carr. Now, I'm not here to say that somebody harmed Mr. Byron, but something is fishy. Because as I said, with this new information of him taking medications, which I'd already heard that a while ago, but I didn't know what they were for. The grandmother has laid it out, ADHD. He also had seizures. If he had passed out somewhere, 9 times out of 10, he would have been seen on the side of the road. But if he was walking in a wooded area, which would make no sense, I can't see him walking in a wooded area. He would walk on a path to be seen to get to her house. And there's nothing from that road but going into the interstate and downtown, unless he went under the bridge and wanted to walk the interstate, which would also be dangerous. But like I said, if he got hit, he would be seen. He would be seen, period, walking any direction to northwest Knoxville. Whether he cut up, went through the Dandridge area, which led to downtown Summit Hill, he would have been seen. That whole walk in either direction, because there's only one direction you can go in, and that's west, he would have been seen. There's something funky here. The fact that the brother went to get him, the girlfriend said he had left out the back door walking. Is that true? Because you got to remember what a story. It's somebody else's version. Doesn't mean it's the truth. And I'm not here to throw daggers at anybody, but this story doesn't make any sense only because we're going off the word of family members that he ain't that type to just poof, voila, disappear. Or is he? And if he was out here philandering around and doing whatever he wanted to do, somebody would have seen him at some point saying, hey, man, they're looking for you. See, pay attention now. Let's just say he got fed up with the world. He was hanging at somebody's house or whatever. Somebody would have seen him and somebody would have told. Yeah, I saw him walking over here. I saw him hanging over here. Oh, he stayed over here at Pookie's house, this girl's house, somebody's house. Because people talk in the South. It is what it is. So we're going to scratch. He's hanging about. We're going to scratch. He was outside and passed out. Because he's going to have to walk on a main road. And 9 times out of 10, he would have been seen had he passed out from a seizure or got sick. So what is left is Byron is intentionally missing on his own, or he met with foul play at that girl's house or leaving her house. And as I've always told you, when it comes to missing people, you always start with the people who last saw him and the people who dealt with him. So now you got to ask the ultimate questions. Did Mr. Edwards have beef with somebody close to him? Did he have beef with that girl who he has a baby by, has not seen the child hasn't seen the father? Somebody called to handle something, disagreement, argument, things got out of hand. I want to know. And I'm sure many people want to know because it don't sound right. And usually when it doesn't sound right, it's because it ain't right. I think most of you know that. Let's check out this street he was allegedly on. One second. I got information from somebody close to the family who mentioned this View Park Drive allegedly to me a year ago. And what I have to ask myself is the obvious. When you go to Google and you pull up View Park Drive, as I did last year, Google will take you down the street of some nice homes, and I do believe it dead ends, and it's not near Riverside Drive. He still would have had to walk a little ways to View Park Drive from Riverside Drive. View Park Drive appears to be in South Knoxville, which is across the Gay Street and Henley Street Bridge. Riverside Drive is close to, the start of Riverside Drive is close to downtown. Let me make this clear for those who are confused. Allegedly, he's near downtown at the girlfriend's house, but the phone is pinging in South Knoxville, which is across the bridge, which means he would have had to walk a little ways over to this place, View Park Drive. So now you have to ask exactly where on View Park Drive did the phone ping? Because when you look at the map, there's a red dot. It's near Redbud Condominiums, William Hasty Natural Area. I also believe that's the same place where they have the quarry. It's on the other side of East Moody. He would not have been walking to Merrill's house. That's where I have the problem. So now this changes the dynamic of Riverside Drive. Stay woke, everybody. Because you can't be going to South Knoxville and also be going to Northwest Knoxville where Maryland lives. So which is it? Why is his phone pinging across the damn bridge in an entirely different location, in a different direction than his grandmother's house? So now you got to ask, where the phone last ping, was that phone in the possession of Byron Edwards or somebody else? Was the phone taken from him at any point on the 20th or whichever, the 22nd, and he went missing by the hands of another human being? Was the phone discarded over there? That's what I like to know. Because when they say inconclusive, break it down for the queen. What do you mean exactly? He took one card with him allegedly, Miss Maryland says, but it was never used. So let's say there was foul play. That means suspects did not take a debit card, credit card, and use it, which common sense, you would know not to. What happened? Did he get mad at the world, frustrated, took this walk over across the bridge, and then what? Met with foul play over across the bridge in South Knoxville, or went to meet somebody, or, as I said, became disoriented, passed out somewhere in an area where nobody would see his body. But then one would say he had to go somewhere and be ducked off for that to happen. Because if he's anywhere near a street, walking on pavement, if he passed out, you would see him. And I would hope somebody would stop and call 911. And then the ambulance will pick up the person, take him to the hospital, and the rest will be history. So what the hell was he doing over there if he was trying to get to Northwest Knoxville? Because this View Park Drive is not near her house. It's across the bridge from her house. For those who are familiar with Knoxville, Tennessee, South Knoxville, and East Knoxville in the downtown area. There's something off with this story. Because when you look at the map, you can see he had to cross over the main bridge, which would be James White Parkway, and it will cross over into South Knoxville. And he didn't drive. She said he didn't drive. That would lead one to believe he didn't have a car. Did he have a driver's license or he had a state ID? And if he was trying to get away to Maryland, why would his phone be pinging in South Knoxville and not East Knoxville? 2300 Riverside Drive. Or is this a case of foul play and somebody had his phone and discarded it off of View Park Drive? What the hell happened to Byron Edwards? Somebody out there knows. And I don't want to think the worst that it is foul play, but when you go this long, you start coming out of the realm of 2 months, 4 months, your mind starts to go with the worst case scenario. That he met with foul play. He got in the car with the wrong person, joyride, caught a ride, something. And it could have went just like that. Hey, where you going? Oh, I'm trying to go over here, this place, da, 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 da. And then when you get in the car, the game changes. The funny games begin. I don't think he was human trafficked. Everyone's entitled to his or her opinion. I think somebody did something to Byron, either at that house, near that house, or wherever the hell he went. That's what I think. And someone in the Knoxville, Tennessee area is holding the secret. And I really would like to hear from his father's side. The grandmother keeps speaking, which is his mother's mother. Marilyn is doing a lot of talking to the news and the public. This cousin also talking, Miss Shakita. I want to hear more from the parents about their child. Who he is. What he liked to do, his hobbies. Plans he had for the future. That's what I'd like to hear. A story should never be one-sided unless a person doesn't know the biological parents or family. Did you see where I'm going with this? My prayers are with the family because this is a terrible story. As I said, his cousin was brutally murdered last year after he went missing. So naturally, the family is still dealing with the death of Tyangela. So this is even worse on top of her murder. He went missing before her murder. And we all know who murdered her. That's no secret. But what happened to Byron? So I'm going to ask the girlfriend, because you always start with where the person allegedly last was. Did you and Byron have an altercation? Physical and or verbal, or both? Did he actually visit your house? Was he physically in your house? Did he walk out of your house on his own? Are you telling the truth about him walking out of your back door into the woods? Because now we have to ask ourselves, exactly, if your house sits on Riverside Drive, it's a nice side street, your house facing the woods, why would he be walking out the back door instead of the front? I'm just saying. Because we have to ask what side of the street. Left side, right, and that depends on which direction you're going in. Stay woke now. Why not just go out the front door? Because if your house is facing Riverside, I would logically think he'd walk out the front door to exit onto Riverside or go up another street to try to get up to a main street that could take him straight over these bridges, highways, to Northwest Knoxville, if I believe Miss Marilyn still lives in the Lonsdale community. You see, one thing I have learned from my father, who is no longer alive, he told me sometimes it's best to just listen. Don't say anything. Don't speak. You can learn a lot by listening. And that's what I've done. I listened. I listened to one person tell something about that phone, which now has been corroborated to the news about that phone being all the way across the damn bridge pinging and not at that girlfriend's house. I listened to all the people who have spoken about Byron publicly and those who have not. And I say, this story is bullshit. Somebody knows more about Byron than they are letting on. And that's what's going to be the terrible part of the story. What will be terrible if we find out that he's no longer alive and he was harmed by a two-legged creature and that there was help in the cover-up. Because see, what you got to ask yourself is, what did the canine pick up? Where did the canine sense stop? What was pinged? The exact location on the phone ping. Why would the phone be pinging over there if he was supposed to be going to Northwest Knoxville? How did he get over there to South Knoxville? He walked. Marilyn says he didn't drive, so that means he possibly didn't have a car, because why would he be trying to get somebody to pick him up if he had his own damn car? Did the girlfriend have a car? That was something I wanted to ask when she said she was tired. So now Queen's going to ask her, tired from what exactly? Pregnant, overwhelmed, tired, sleepy. No sin in that. But did she have an automobile when Byron left that house, or if I'm to believe he left the house? Because what is going to bother me even more is if I find out she had a car and she decided not to give him a damn ride. Then I'm going to ask, why not? Why not call him an Uber or Lyft bingo card? See, I stay woke. If he had a card on him, he could have ordered him a ride if he had money in his bank account. Could have called the grandmother. Granny, order me a ride, please. I don't have any money. Didn't take anything with him. No medication, no clothes. So this was just a fluke. Run over here, holler at the girlfriend, chill, then go on back to my grandmother's house. Then some are going to wonder, why was he living with the grandmother, not staying with the girlfriend, and she's having a baby? Oh, yeah, I'm going to ask all those questions because Pandora's box is open. And as I said, please don't get offended by the questions. I ask these same questions with anybody that I know, don't know, because many people will ask the same questions. Why would we not ask? Why was he not living with her? Or was he living with her and then also sometimes stayed with the grandmother? But my understanding, he stayed with Marilyn. So now my interest is very piqued. Why was he not living with a woman who is about to deliver a baby? Never missed a doctor's appointment. Child sickly. Heart troubles. He's missed all of that. Appointments, the birth of the child, the growth of a child. She does not know her father. Blessing. Is there more to this story? Is there foul play in the disappearance of Byron? Did something terrible happen to him at that house or in the vicinity of that house where the girlfriend lived? Is she holding a secret to where Byron can be found? Has she been telling the truth to family members, Dateline, and also law enforcement? And God forbid this is a grand cover-up for something just as petty, because usually most murders are. And I'm not here to say that he was murdered, but I'm going to go with the latter because of the timeline. If indeed he was murdered, you can bet your bottom dollar it was something petty. There's something off here. In the beginning of the story, you saw pictures of Byron with his hair cut low. And then recently, I'm seeing photos of him with longer hair, such as, dreadlocks. So I like to know what kind of hairstyle did he have before disappearing, because all those things are pivotal in finding him, locating him, and knowing what to look for, as we've learned with true crime in the worst case scenario. We need to know if he was bald-headed, had a fade, braids, or dreadlocks. Because if this is a worst case scenario, you will be looking for someone with hair attached to a skull. Stay woke now. Such as what I learned with the Dinkins case. The white men found the girl child, and he realized it was a black girl because the hair was there. African American hair. See, those things are important. This is a very baffling story. Because as I told you before, everything in life is about aversion. And it's up to you to decide if you believe the version given. Because what do they always say about a story? There's two sides to the story, and then there's the truth. And your version may not be the version I have. Because when people tell a story, they add a little, they take away a little. Sometimes we get a little theatrical, and we add words that were never spoken. We hype it up more than what it actually was. But then again, it's all about interpretation. Did the girlfriend tell the truth about him being at the house and leaving out about 6:30? And did he exit the back door into the woods? And where do the woods lead to? Are they on the right side of the street, left side of the street? The woods are leading into what exactly? Because on the other side of the riverside is the river. Stay woke now. Thank you, hippie. So he bypassed the river. But there's also a quarry over in that direction. A park and a quarry. One of the relatives said, did he go into the quarry just to, see the scenery of the water? Or did he jump in deliberately? I don't know. I'm not here to make any accusations, but this is something someone had brought to my attention. And I told them then I need a receipt about the View Park address. I need a real address. I need to know for sure his phone pinged there. And now we have it. And that's not near her house. You have to cross the bridge to get over to that area, View Park, from where allegedly she lived in the 2300 block of Riverside Drive. Did he leave on foot? Number one. Did he get picked up? Number two. Did he meet somebody along the way while walking? And why the hell is his phone pinging across the damn bridge? That's my commentary for today. I want to thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. Stay safe. Please stay hydrated. Stay out of the heat. If you have asthma, you smoke, you have heart problems, heart conditions, please stay out of the heat. Stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water, fluid, Gatorade, Powerade, less sugar. Stay out of the heat, please, to preserve your life. If you have any information pertaining to Byron Edwards, please call the Knoxville, Tennessee Police Department or TBI or Crime Stoppers Valley. Please call them with information, because I do believe this is a not so good ending, because we're now in a year and some months. He has not notified anyone of his whereabouts. Allegedly, no one has spoken of him being the type to just run off and disappear at a given time. And if he was still hanging around Knoxville, by now somebody would have told it. Because as I said, this is the dirty South and people talk. Prayers to this family for answers, the truth. And if this is a worst case scenario, prayers for justice. I will possibly come back later on and we'll chop up new news. Once again, Gilgo Beach ex-police chief has been arrested for solicitation for prostitution. Thank you, lady. Old habits die hard. You would think a person would have enough sense to keep their wee-wee in their pants or give their wee-wee to somebody that they like and likes them back. But no, this man has a fetish for paying for sex. This ex-police chief. This is the very reason why these murders went unsolved. So now we got to ask ourselves, is this man involved in any way in these murders of these people, these women? Does he know Rex Heuermann? Nobody's asked that. But the Queen did. Does the ex-Gilgo Beach Police Department chief know Rex Heuermann? Did Rex Heuermann have help? Is this an underground sting of murdering women, group, club? Or are we talking about separate murderers? Will Mr. Rex be tied to the other victims found? What knowledge does the wife know? Who all is involved? Believe me, you have gone into the abyss with Rex Heuermann. Because when you start going from state to state inquiring about unsolved murders, you have a problem. And as I've said before in my commentary, there's another Rex Heuermann walking around you right now and you don't even know it. There's a Mr. Dinkins walking around and you don't even know it. There are sexual predators, sadists, child molesters, rapers, serial killers walking beside you, eating beside you. They're your neighbor. They're also your friend, associate, co-worker, boss. You've dated them, married them. Trust no one. Thank you all for your time. You've been listening to The Vault. Exhale.